Welcome to Amazing Business Radio with best-selling author and customer service and business expert, Shep Hyken. Shep will talk with some of the smartest thinkers in business to help make you more successful in your professional and personal life. This is Amazing Business Radio with Shep Hyken.
Hello, everybody. We are back on Amazing Business Radio, and I am so excited today because we have Eng Tan, who is the CEO of Simplr, which is a company that defines the way brands are delivering customer experience. He is also an author, and the new book, Experience is Everything, is coming out, and you can get it at Amazon today, or at least order it today. So with that in mind, a couple of quick announcements before we get started, and if you've heard the show, you know what they are. If you've got an amazing story you want to share, jump at me anywhere on social media, reach out, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of them. If you have a question, then use the hashtag AskShep, and I'll either answer the question right there in the social channel. I might answer it on this show. I might answer it in one of my blogs, or I might answer it on my TV show, which is Be Amazing or Go Home. And that can be found on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Prime. And you can now actually get all of the episodes by going to beamazing.tv. That's beamazing.tv. All right, let's jump into our interview today. I mentioned that Eng Tan is the CEO of Simplr, and this company has been involved in the CX space for quite a while, and they have some important ideas and things that we need to learn about. So with that in mind, Eng, welcome to the show.
Shep, very excited to be with you today. Your thought leadership and practical advice in this space is truly serving the CX community. So thank you, and it's an honor to chat with you today.
Just understand that everything I learn is from people like you.
You're too kind.
And that's why I do this show. Everybody thinks he does this show because he likes to promote and all that. No, I do this show because I get to talk to rock stars like you. And I honestly, that's the number one reason. So you are with Simplr, and I know I briefly mentioned that you're all about delivering a better customer experience. You want to just do a real quick elaboration on that?
Absolutely. We help brands transform their customer service operating models from rigid models to very flexible models to meet the needs of the now customer, the more demanding, always on customer that has tremendous urgency and also very high expectations.
Right. And by the way, I interviewed Daniel Rodriguez, I don't know, a year ago, it seems. Yes. I lose track during this whole COVID pandemic thing. But that was one of the things he emphasized, that customers want it now. And that's something that's fairly new in the last 3 years. I do believe it started long before the pandemic, where the expectations were raised a little bit higher, with companies like Amazon just making it easier and easier to get what we wanted faster and faster.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been bubbling below the surface for a while, and it's just accelerated by the pandemic. It's accelerated with going digital, and also you've got a ton of competitors out there. So businesses actually need to see who else they're competing against, and they may not be in their industry. They may be competing against the very best across different industries.
And I emphasize that over and over again, that we no longer are compared to direct competitors, but to the best service that's out there from anywhere. The stakes are raised. And one of the exercises we put our clients through when we do workshops with them is to ask them, outside of our industry, who are the companies you love and why? And we take a look at the reasons why, and we say, can we incorporate any of those into what we do? Because that takes us out of being best in our own little industry to looking at best in class worldwide against others. And that is a competitive differentiator when you get down to it.
Yes, absolutely. And you learn new things because different industries have different conditions and competitive dynamics. And they're not bound by what your industry is held back by. And that's one of the key benefits.
All right. So your new book, Experience is Everything. And we're going to be talking about this concept of letting go. I want to talk about neglecting customers. A lot of this content is in that book, but you want to give us a sentence or two blurb on why everybody should, as soon as they finish this episode, go to Amazon and buy this book?
Absolutely. Once again, it goes back to that operating model needing to change in customer service from rigid to flexible. We talk about how you do that. We provide a roadmap and different progression stages from all our learnings across the industry over the years. And we also talked about how customer neglect is actually a bigger problem than most leaders realize.
Yeah, we think customer neglect is just coming from the front line, but it's actually deeply rooted into an organization when there is true neglect. Well, let's jump into this. You have a concept called, I'm looking at it, letting go. And there's different areas of places we need to let go. So let's start there. There's a great, looking at my points here that I want to cover, letting go of customer experience metrics, because not all metrics are good metrics.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think your article on skimflation and the corners being cut in customer service is actually a great way to frame it.
All right. Now, by the way, skimflation, for those that didn't read the article, is that companies don't choose, but are being forced to skimp on the quality or the service that they delivered because supply chain issues, employee issues, and shortages of getting good people. So they are forced to skimp. And I didn't come up with the word skimflation. It came from a PBS podcast, but I just love it and I've elaborated on it. So we have this, but go ahead, continue on.
Absolutely. So you get the unintended consequences of being too narrowly focused on customer service metrics that are perhaps efficiency focused. So I want to go into the topic of letting go of some of the old customer service metrics that may not be doing good things for your business. So you and I know that when specific metrics are used in isolation, they don't tell the full story. I've seen customer service leaders across brands and companies just hang their hats on one or two quality metrics like customer satisfaction score. You've probably heard that many times, or average handle time for efficiency.
Yep, average handle time, NPS even.
Yes, NPS even, and I know there's a reboot on NPS because it's not been implemented properly. And when you're so focused, businesses do not know the full extent of how they are either building customer loyalty or perpetuating neglect. And a key takeaway is you've got to build a broader picture of leading and lagging indicators. And we would contend that conversion rates, repeat purchase rates, and ultimately customer lifetime value are influenced not only by the quality of product and service, but also by how well customer service executes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So lifetime value, I think, is important to always take a look at, and obviously you want to increase lifetime value numbers, because if that's increasing, it means your customers are spending more, they're frequently buying more, that type of thing. But what I think you're really getting down to is that you are looking at the behaviors of customers. You know, one-time purchases versus repeat purchases versus even customers you would consider loyal, because loyal customers might be at a whole nother level than just a customer that's a repeat customer. And I know, like, what's the difference? Repeat customers, aren't they loyal? No, they are loyal to something that's driving them to come back again and again. But is it the company they're loyal to? Is it the location that they're loyal to? Is it the price that they're loyal to? You want them to be loyal to the company. And that makes price and anything else less relevant.
Yes. And what you're talking about are outcome-based metrics, right? Behaviors that drive outcomes. And one of the deficiencies in other metrics, which are largely survey-based, is it can be gamed. It can be gamed.
Yeah, biased questions.
Yes,
and not even intentionally biased.
Absolutely. And we also know that 20-30% of customers respond to surveys. What about the rest of the customers?
Yeah.
Are they indifferent? Are they the ones that are neglected, that just couldn't be bothered? And you're missing that temperature check of that middle of that bell curve that is large, and you're fighting for them against your competitors.
Yep. Well, let's jump to another area of letting go, and that is this concept of omnichannel. And for those for who, whatever reason, if you're listening and you don't, what's omnichannel? And it's all the different ways customers can connect with a company, and companies that are, as they say, truly omnichannel. It means that you can get to them anyway, and it means that you can talk to them via email, via chat, via phone, and it's a big continuous conversation. Talk to us a little bit about your philosophy of omnichannel.
Absolutely. At Simplr, we get a front row seat to many operating models, and I see a lot of preconceptions around omnichannel. And you had an interesting conversation with Jet's Baker Johnson
Yes.
on omnichannel. We want to take it one step further, because the message that we've got to deliver is, in some cases, less is more. And we get inundated with all the marketing from various software providers on omnichannel. They say a customer wants to talk to you on the phone, and 3 hours later, they want to social DM you. And then in the middle of the night, they're going to live chat with you. When it's interpreted the incorrect way, brands tend to spread themselves too thin across multiple modalities. They don't do it well. They increase the effort level for customers, and they frustrate customers. And I truly believe in the paradox of choice. You see that in many consumer packaged goods companies, and I believe constraining the options actually reduce decision effort and increase the chances of customer selection and purchase. And we believe this applies to customer service and omnichannel. So one of my go-to resources is the Effortless Experience by
the Effortless Experience.
Yeah, by the Conference Executive Board. Massive study. And they found that customers overwhelmingly will choose ease of resolution over channel choice by a factor of 5 to 1.
But doesn't ease of resolution mean if I'm the company, I am providing you a channel of choice?
There's also an alternative way to think of it. The company could guide you to the channel that they do really well.
Exactly. Amen on that. In other words, train the customer on the best way to get the support. I won't mention the name of the company, but their initials are Salesforce. And when I went to buy their CRM and used it in my company, I said, talk to me about how good your customer support is. And they said, well, you can call us. It might be a small hold. It might be a little while before we get back to you with an answer, but just go on YouTube and type in, how do you do blank with Salesforce software. And we made up some question I might have in the future, and I put it in there, and like 4 videos popped up. You know what? That salesperson just trained me where to go first.
Exactly.
Yeah. And It's so important. Hey, it's time for us to take a quick break. And when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about this customer neglect concept that you have, about how customers are being neglected. But I want everybody to remember, we are talking with Eng Tan, who is the CEO of Simplr, and the new book, Experience is Everything, is available at Amazon. So don't go away. We're coming right back. Hi, Shep Hyken, your customer service and experience expert, and I'm excited to tell you about my new book, I'll Be Back, How to Get Customers to Come Back Again and Again. Now, this book is packed with idea after idea on how to, just as the title implies, get your customers to come back. In the book, you'll learn that repeat customers aren't always loyal customers. Now, both are great, but there's a big difference. You'll also learn about 10 reasons a customer may stop doing business with you and 3 reasons you would stop doing business with them. And one of my favorite lessons is a 6-step process for creating an I'll Be Back strategy. Of course, there's much, much more. You'll start getting more of your customers to say, I'll be back almost immediately. Just go to www.illbebackbook.com. Again, that's www.illbebackbook.com.
You're listening to Amazing Business Radio with best-selling author and customer service and business expert, Shep Hyken.
We're back on Amazing Business Radio, talking with Eng Tan, CEO of Simplr and author of Experience is Everything. And we're going to be talking about customer neglect now. So let's jump right into that. And what does that actually mean?
Yeah, actually, Shep, love to get into customer neglect. However, could we go back to one of the aspects of letting go?
Sure.
In terms of internal influence.
What do we miss?
Yeah. Well, this is one of the things that you talk about a lot also. We often hear in the customer service world, how many agents do you have? It's a question that's focused on something that's very resource-based, and it can be interpreted many ways. If a P&L owner is asking it, large agent count actually means a drain on company resources and inflexibility and stranded costs if the company needs to shift strategies on a dime. And we believe that this resource-based view of customer service pigeonholes our leaders into the managers of the cost center hamster wheel, the recruit, train, attrit, recruit, train, attrit. And this is very much related to the topic on metrics, which also pigeonhole CX leaders. We'd love to get your thoughts on that topic.
So you're interviewing me now.
Hey, you've got a wealth of knowledge.
I appreciate that. My thoughts. Well, I mean, I think I have this feeling that it's just something I preach. Customer service doesn't cost, it pays. But you have to look at it the way I think you're asking all of us to look at it, is not to be so much resource-based. I actually think that calling the part of the company that provides customer service, the customer service department, is the wrong name. To me, customer service is not a department, it's a philosophy. And the people that actually handle customer support issues should be called people who are in support. But even better, I like the idea that they're the revenue generation department, because if they do it right, customers are going to stay longer and buy more. Revenue generator, revenue enhancement, the repeat customer department, but there's different ways to look at it. And I love the term customer success. Now, customer success means something different to most people in this world. But to me, and by the way, that difference is customer success is about onboarding the customer so that they get the most successful experience out of your product. I believe it is the job of the people who are managing the questions and problems that customers have to create a successful outcome of that interaction, which leads to confidence and trust in the company, which leads into more business. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking.
No, you're absolutely right, because one of our partners is the CX leader for the US arm of one of the largest international sporting goods companies. He had to figure out a way to earn the seat at the table in the business. And he spoke the language of the general manager and CFO. Basically, they said, every dollar of customer service investment generates $5 of incremental revenue. That was his line. And that was
there it is, revenue generation, revenue enhancement, whatever you want to call it.
Right. And with the right vocabulary, the right tracking, the right attribution, you can start shifting that conversation and that perception to one of a revenue driver.
Yep. Love it. So letting go of old ways of measuring internal influence, meaning we need to start thinking a different way about the investment that we're making into customer support, into the training, even into maybe paying a little bit more to make sure we get the right people that are going to not only do a great job, but stay with us.
Yes, absolutely. So you think of it less as how much extra cost per hour you're paying, and more about how much extra revenue are we generating here, because there's a multiplier effect on revenue. And
right.
It's a massive
if I had one of those
effect.
bomb buttons where I could push a little button and it would go, that's a big idea right there. If nothing else, if you've heard nothing else so far, figure out exactly what we just talked about, is that we need to look at this as a revenue generator and stop looking at it. Oh, it costs us this much. No, it makes us this much. So are we ready to talk about customer neglect?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now you interview me.
All right. I'm flipping it back to you. Let's talk about how there's many different ways that customers get neglected by the companies. I think more in the past, and there's a number of reasons, go back to that skimflation. Maybe we just can't deal with our customers the way we should. And if you've read my articles, one of the things I talk about is find places to cut that aren't going to be so obvious. Early in the pandemic, I was talking to, and I'm going to try to remember because I told the story a couple of times, but I was talking to an owner of a hotel, and he couldn't understand why his ratings were tanking more and more. And he says, we have so little occupancy. I've had to let a lot of my housekeeping staff go. And I said, you know what? You need to recognize that if your guest comes into a dirty room, it doesn't matter how nice the people are. You can't cut someplace that's going to be noticed by the customer. So that I think part of it is neglect, if you will, on how we're thinking. Anyway, I digress. Go ahead and share some of your insights.
Yeah, absolutely. And and on neglect. And this ties it back to what we were talking about. What are the root causes? Often I would contend that the root causes are really deep-seated in how we think success should be measured in customer service. It comes down to the metrics. It comes down to the incentives. When you start putting average handle time targets on agents, what's the natural result? They're gonna rush to get off the phone.
Right. And that hurts the experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Customer may say they don't care about me. They're not empathizing with me. They're not giving me the time that I need.
Right. And that's a form of customer neglect, actually a massive form. It's a very common form of customer neglect. Another one that's metrics driven too is we're throwing bots at everything these days. And
is that bad?
Well, it's bad if it's not handled and done irresponsibly. So if the whole intent is deflection, that means you're my customer, but you're not worth enough for me to even engage with you. I'm going to deflect you. Now, that is bad.
Yeah, I think there's a balance. I think bots serve there's a reason for having a bot, which, the automated attendant, the artificial intelligence that's answering questions. But the moment if I'm a customer, the moment I'm not getting what I want, there needs to be a quick, easy, seamless way to get to the human. And the companies that don't make it easy are making a huge mistake. I go to the grocery store and I go to the self-service checkout line and I pick up a piece of fruit that doesn't have a barcode and I start freaking out. Oh my gosh, how do I scan this, right? And I know, look at the people behind me. They're looking at me going, oh my gosh, he doesn't have a barcode. Now we're going to have to wait longer. There's all this stress that's mounting up. And all I need to do is look around and there's almost always an employee. And I go, excuse me, what should I do? And they're over there within a moment. And that's a great metaphor for the way businesses should set up their automated processes, their, artificial intelligence infused bots, if you will, and just make sure there's an easy, seamless way to get to somebody.
Absolutely. We call it the human off-ramp. And, a quick escalation to a human who is empathetic, who can solve your problem. And they work in tandem. The humans can train the bots make the humans better. And that's how it should work.
Yeah. And the bots will also help deal with some of the automation or some repetitive tasks that can easily be automated.
Absolutely.
All right. We've got just a moment or two more, and I always love to ask the final question. I warned you it would be coming. The final takeaway that you want to share with us. If you could say, that's that one extra bit of wisdom. I call it the one thing question. What would that be?
Thank you, Shep. It's about the always on and demanding now customer. They are not going away. And the now CX movement is the future of customer service. So we got to start making the operating model changes today or risk getting left behind by the market, competitors, and your customers.
Yeah, you want to be the one where customers say they use the word always in front of positive things about you. And one of those words or one of those positive things need to be, they always get back to me quickly. They always have knowledgeable reps to get me the answers that I need right away. That's what customers want. It is a me mentality, and it is a quick, I want it now mentality. And the companies that and going back to what you said at the very, very beginning of this interview, there are companies out there that are setting the bar higher, not even in the industries that we're in, but they're creating the perception of this is the way service and experience should be. And by the way, if you're in B2B, you're being compared to retailers. So keep in mind, B2C companies are influencing your customers and what they expect of you. So Eng Tan, you are a wealth of information. We have been talking to the guru, to the CEO of Simplr, and I tell you, I can't appreciate you more. This is why we call it Amazing Business Radio. Thank you for being on the show.
It's my pleasure. It's a pleasure talking to you, Shep.
Oh, it's a pleasure is mine. So thank you. And also remember, everybody, the book is titled Experience is Everything. If you love what we are talking about today, then you will absolutely love this book. So go over to Amazon, pick it up. You'll be glad that you did. And everybody, thank you for tuning in and listening. We'll have another great interview next week. And until that time, this is Shep Hyken reminding you to always be amazing.